Every new RV comes with an instant list of projects that need to be done, things that you want to tweak or add to kind of make it your own. We've been in this RV now for a couple of months and I've gotten a lot of the projects knocked out. I'm not done with the projects. I still have quite a few to do. I also have some repairs to share with you guys, some things that have broken right out of the gate, because this is an RV and this is just how things go. But today I want to share about the first 15 or so projects that we've done in here. We want to share with you guys everything that we do to this RV that's not stock, just so you can kind of get a feel for when we give you a tour, what's us and what was from the factory. So just like an RV tour, we're going to go nose to tail inside, and then I'll take you outside to cover these projects. So of course, we're going to start up here in the bedroom. The first non-stock thing that you're probably going to ask about that we did not install are the washer and dryer. Now, we get asked about installing this quite a lot because we've had pretty much the same type of setup in our first RV, which was the 397TH, our second RV, which was the 410TH, and now this one. And I have installed the washer and dryer on none of them. So I have no advice other than to tell you what model we have. And we'll put those on screen and have links below. But great, great washer and dryer, great stackable unit. This one was done as a favor for us by Grand Design. Previous ones we've had done by Grand Design or the dealer. So if you order an RV, order these at the same time through your dealer and get the dealer to install them because it just looks like a pain. Also in the bedroom here, not stock, is this TV. Now, just to tell you a little bit about us, we are 80s kids, and watching TV at night and watching TV in bed is just how we roll. This was the very first project that I did, was to put this in. It was pretty easy to put up. There's a backer behind there. I, at the time, didn't have a good stud sensor, so I just tapped and found where the backing was there, and it has been solid. This 43-inch Vizio fits here perfectly. I got the mount from Walmart. I'll link that down below too. It was super, super easy. The next thing up here in the bedroom, of course, is our bed. You know, we've talked forever about RV Mattress and how we love our RV Mattress by Brooklyn Bedding. This is not sponsored or anything, but we did, of course, before we ever spent a night in here, got rid of the stock mattress and brought our RV mattress over from our 410. Along with that, I upgraded our struts. I just swapped them with the other RV because we put the stock mattress back in the 410. But we put 150-pound struts in here that help with this heavier mattress, and those work great for us. The other thing we did was, this comes with a shelf in the bottom here. And for us, that shelf just kind of gets in the way. So I took that out right away so that we can fit storage containers and things down there. That was super easy. A couple screws, pulled it out, got rid of it. Next, let's slide back here to the bathroom. Per usual, in all of the RVs we've had, we have used these command hooks for our towels in the shower, and they work great. Never had one fall. You just got to follow the instructions and clean it with alcohol, hold it for whatever amount of time, and then you don't put the hook on for like a day. If you follow all the instructions, it should work great. So those are super simple, and it's nice to be able to have our towels hang and dry out of the way inside the shower here. Also in the shower is this HoPro shower head. Now, we used I think the 5-inch version of this in our 410. And this time I think it's a 7 or 8-inch. I forget what it is. We'll have links below on that. But the shower head that comes with it looks cool, but water doesn't come out with any kind of pressure. So this HoPro has been great, matches great, looks great. Very rarely do we use any of these things. We do use this. But again, that shower head is much better than the stock shower head. Next up in here is toilet paper holders. Now, if you're not familiar, if you've ever bought a new RV, they generally don't mount the toilet paper holders. They give them to you to mount wherever you see fit, because, you know, everybody's different. They might want a lefty, they might want a righty, you never know. The trouble is, it's a very basic toilet paper holder and requires you to screw stuff in, and I wanted to put it inside the door here. So it's out of the way, but it's easily accessible when you're on the throne. So this adhesive one works great because you can mount it like this. I have another one just like it, mounted in the back, but vertically, and works great. And along the lines of toilet, another thing that we've done in all 3 RVs is replace the toilet seat. Now this is the Bath Royale, and we've used the same one in all 3 RVs, and it's great. It's a soft close. It's designed to not have all the nooks and crannies on it that are hard to clean, and it's thicker, it's soft close, and we like it quite a bit. Got one in both bathrooms. Next, let's work our way back down here, and I'm actually walking on one of the modifications right now, and that is stair carpet. Our little dog Daisy is not a fan of the stock steps that are, you know, kind of the hard material. Her little tiny feet just can't quite get the grip to make her feel comfortable going up and down the stairs. So in all of our RVs, even going back to 2017, 2018 in our 397, we have carpeted the steps. Pretty straightforward. These steps come off. You can see that I just lay them down on top, fold it over, staple it down. It's not a perfect job, and I think I want to redo it at some point, but right now it is good enough. Also in here, right next to it, is the Lippert thin shade. Now the RV comes with a thin shade ready shade or hollow thing, basically no shade at all. You have to buy the shade that goes inside the thin shade, and it's not that difficult to put in. What is also, you might notice on this door, is a thing called an Easy Peasy access screen. Now the inventor of this reached out a while back to see if we wanted to try it out, so of course we do, because the thing is, that thin shade thing is great, but normally to open it up, you've got to open your door, walk outside, close this door, and then you can access the sliding screen. So he came up with this basically zippered flapper panel here. So now if I want to open this, I just zipper this down. I manipulate the shade. I think I want to go ahead and open it up for the day. This Lippert thin shade is a little finicky, and the pleats sometimes don't like to line up, and you got to give them a little help. This way you can open it up and zip it back up and let the light shine in without having to open your door, because that's a real pain, particularly if it's raining. We're going to keep trying it out. So far, we've only had it on for a couple of days. So far, we like it though. Also, you might notice on this door, we have a new locking system. It's the Bauer Bluetooth locks. There was nothing wrong with the RV locks that we had on our 410. You know, on our 410, we had the Trek lock. Really liked that. It was a great lock. I was going to put Trek on here also, just because we like them and they, you know, have been good to us. But they were out of stock, and I didn't want to go back to the V4. The RV Lock V4 is the one that has the real kind of a half moon shape on one side, and it ends up uncovering unpainted areas on the RV, so we'd have white. So I saw these online, reached out to Bauer. They sent us a couple to try out, and so far I really liked them. Now it's basically got 4 buttons plus the unlock button versus, you know, the combination of 10. So you don't have as many combinations, but honestly, these locks are meant to keep honest people out. Most locks are. You can defeat any lock on this door with a crowbar, I'm sure. So not real worried about that. So got these on, really like them. What I also like about them is that they have Bluetooth built in, so that if you want to check your lock or maybe lock or unlock from the bed at night, like, oh crap, did I forget to lock the front door? You can do it all from the app. You might have noticed another feature while I was out here, and that is the Ring doorbell. Now, we've had a Ring alarm system in our RV since the beginning. In fact, this entire Ring alarm system, I moved from our 410 over here. The only part that I didn't move were the door sensors, because those were screwed on. So all of the smoke detectors have been replaced with Ring compatible, so it integrates into the alarm system. Of course, we have our water detectors underneath every sink and in the basement, and Ring cameras inside and on the door. We just like having that added security. Now, I put sensors, as you can see, on all of the doors. I put them on the back, and I have 2 more sets that I'm going to put on our baggage doors, because we don't like to keep those locked. That's a pain to lock those all the time. But it would be nice to know if somebody opens it while we're here or not here. So I'm going to put those on soon. The only thing that's different about the Ring alarm system now is we used to have the Ring alarm system and all of our network equipment in the garage. But now that we've got this cabinet up here with our pass-throughs for Starlink and stuff like that, everything goes up here, including the base station for the Ring alarm. our network attached storage, our router. Now, I'm going to be mounting that router. You might also notice we have a cable running over here for Starlink. I don't have Starlink installed on the roof yet. That's going to be a separate project, so look for that. Also in here, before we leave this room, I did replace all of the filters, which are basically not really even filters, it's almost like little screen doors up there. These are all MERV 6 filters, so we'd like to have better filtration on here. In our 410, we had also done RV airflows in all the RVs, as well as RV AC silencer. I chose to not worry about that, at least out of the gate right away, because the main AC in here comes with the RV airflow already in it. And you're going to see when we do our tour that we no longer have the Lippert 1 control. We have a system that we're actually testing for Grand Design called Precision Circuits. I don't know why I can't say that. Precision Circuits. Anyway, look at that. Fires right up. I can change things. I can access all of the screens really easy, really fast. Not going to go into that right now. But my point with that is the Lippert system, whenever it would turn on the AC, it was always high. Fan was always high, super, super noisy. This system, like a lot of other systems, put the fan on low and then don't crank it on to high until the temperature gap is big enough to warrant a high fan and all that noise. So not really feeling the need for the AC silencer as much in here. And I'm also liking keeping the dump vents available, particularly in the bedroom and in the office. That way, not everything has to go through the duct. So trying things a little bit different this year in terms of the AC system, leaving it more stock. So you guys know, if you've watched through the years, that I'm up to tackle just about any project. But I'll tell you one project that I am never going to try to tackle, and that is getting my personal information off of the hundreds upon hundreds of data broker websites that buy and sell your personal information legally. Those data broker websites with your information are where some bad things actually start. Phishing attempts, identity theft, even stalking and harassment. And honestly, the best way to not be a part of those scams is to not be on those data broker websites to begin with, because they can't scam you if they can't find you. The upside is these data broker websites are required by law to remove your information when you request that of them or demand that of them. Trouble is, who the heck has time to call and email hundreds upon hundreds of data brokers to have that done? I don't. That's why I've been using Incogni for over a year now. And here you can see on our personal dashboard, they have removed my information from over 1,000 data broker websites, and they keep going after them. Incogni will take care of it and get you removed from these websites automatically. And if somehow you find yourself on a website that isn't on their list, they have a custom removal tool where you just plug in the URL and their data experts will handle it for you. So take your personal identity and your personal data back by using Incogni. Use the QR code that's on the screen or the URL and code changing lanes at checkout for 60% off of an annual plan. That is awesome. Thank you to Incogni for a great service that keeps my personal information off of the web, and for sponsoring today's video. Moving out of the living area and back to the garage slash guest suite slash office. Haven't really changed anything in the garage itself. Obviously, we moved our desks over in place of the Happy Jack benches. Of course, you can tell none of that is stock. Separate video on that I'll link below, but that was a really simple project of just using countertops. This also moved over from the 410. This cabinet originally we had butted over against this wall. We were afraid it wasn't going to fit in here because you can see obviously the door and this wall have a little bit of a conflict if we were to put this all the way over. But we moved it all the way over to this wall, and now we've got a little slot back here for broom and a mirror, and the door opens and works just fine. Unfortunately, like a lot of things that we review and projects that we do, this cabinet is no longer available. If it were, I would have bought a new one for this RV and left it in our 410, but cabinet not found anywhere. Might be able to find similarly sized cabinets with different door configurations. I have seen those. But because this control panel here was on that back wall back there, we moved it out to here and had a friend of ours 3D print this plate So it fits over the hole because that's where we had the Lippert control system. You might notice here that this rear system here controls everything. I can do all the ACs. I can do pretty much anything I can on the main control panel back here, but particularly, of course, the lights and the happy jack. So nice having that control panel here. So now guests can control their lights and stuff when they're back here, as well as the AC. So now let's head outside and I'll show you the projects I have been working on out there. One of the very first things that I did was, of course, put our tire pressure monitoring system on this RV. I just moved the sensors from the 410 over to here, but I did also install the repeater up in here. That's a really good, easy to install repeater. I just wired it into the source for this switch, just a simple 12 volt. It's the RoadTech TPMS that we were using in the 410. Love it, works great. The thing I like about this one over the TST 770 that we were using before is this one picks up the sensors really, really fast. So I like that on T24 when I'm actually checking tire pressures before travel. So that was an easy project. Also up in this area are the Mopeka propane sensors, little LP sensors. I think these are actually universal sensors that I put on the bottom. I've had these on our RV since the very first one. Always have them, always love them. I did a test a couple of years ago of how accurate they are. Turns out they're very accurate. So I trust those completely. Definitely a must-have for a new RV to be able to see how much propane you have left. It also does give you warnings through the app. It'll tell you when you're below 20%, so you can get that taken care of without having to just constantly check them. Of course, another thing that you probably saw in a previous video, in our travel video, was we put on the snap pads onto our landing jacks. So I really like the snap pads. They increase the footprint and make it rubber, so it just has a little more staying power. Easy to do, slides right on. Also out here, you know I'm a big fan of the MORryde slide trays, and this RV is no different. Now, if you've seen our tour or other tours of the 395 MT, you know that the basement is a little bit lacking. However, part of our feedback process with Grand Design was to tell them, you know, you could improve this basement without too much trouble. You know, they always have that angle wall. So the first thing I told them was, you know, if I get this RV, the first thing I'm doing is I'm moving that angle wall and I'm squaring it off so I can put a slide tray in there. So they did that. They also found about 8 inches of room to move the entire Nautilus panel over. So we got quite a bit more room in this one than we saw in that stock one that we toured a couple of years ago, or maybe it was last year. We have a tray in here. I'll have the size of that down there. It's not a full pass-through tray like we've had before, just because we don't have the room on the other side. So on the other side, I just have a regular door and I use some bins and stuff. But you can see the main reason, one of the big things we like about the slide tray, aside from being able to slide stuff out and access it, is the Blackstone. Now I'm still going to make some modifications here because this is how I've run with it before, but on our previous RVs have all been drop frame. So the tray was more like down here, and I didn't have my cooking surface way up here. So I'm going to be getting rid of this. This is just a collapsible workbench that I've set this on. I'm going to actually remove and get rid of this and then build some kind of support that allows the Blackstone to sit down just a little bit further and also kind of free up this area back here for stuff. But again, that's not high on the list. The big thing was getting this tray in here and just being able to use the Blackstone at all. Also up in here, I took my wall down and got back in there to the plug, and I was able to hang up my outlet, my run of outlets, and my DeWalt battery charger on the wall there. Also hung the fire extinguisher and got all of that up out of the way and nice and neat. Now I can plug in my one wheel or our e-bikes and things like that up in here without having to figure out where to plug them in. The last but not least, and this is only a partial project right now, and that is our backup / monitor camera for when we're traveling. You can see we've got the Furrion camera mounted up there. That was another thing that I wanted to get done before we started traveling, because it's just really nice having that view back there. I've got a whole system to install, which has the side cameras, a camera for the garage, and of course a camera for the rear. So I've got 4 cameras. I haven't done that yet. That's going to be a separate project. But what I did do, and I'm excited about this, I needed a way to mount the Furrion camera. Now again, I'm going to go have a whole separate video on this Furrion camera system. But what I like about this one versus the brand that I got last time through Techno RV, I was going to go with that because, you know, I was okay with it and I liked the way it worked. But I looked up the new model and the antennas on it are like 8 inches long. And I don't want giant antennas in here. This new Furrion system uses a little bit different communication protocol or something. And it has these nice little stubby ones that can actually fold back and get out of the way. But you know I like to mount things on our dash mount. And a lot of you have asked about this over the years, what we use. And at the time, it was a built-right mount with ram mounts. It was a big hodgepodge of stuff. And for those of you who have reached out over the years, I've said, hey, check out Bulletpoint mounting solutions because those look really cool, although I didn't have them. Well, that has changed. I now replace all of that stuff I had in here with Bulletpoint, and I gotta tell you, I like it a lot better. Number one, this is the monitor that I mounted for this. If you saw our old one, you know it was like a lot of extensions attached to extensions to create weird angles because those ram mounts don't allow you to rotate the tips. These Bulletpoint mounts are awesome. All carbon fiber. They're super tight. They're super stiff. You see they have these little extension things here where you can stack these depending on what size you need. You can see over here I've got 4 in a stack and over here I've got 2. You know, before I had to kind of lay the arm on there and put a little rubber sticker or something. Don't have to do that anymore. Additionally, the Bulletpoint tray that sits in there is a lot bigger than the other dash mount I had. You can see it basically fills the whole tray. So you've got lots of mounting potential on that grid there. I got a lot more flexibility. I don't have to use multiple arms for one connection. It's been really, really good so far and I like it. If you guys have any questions on any of this stuff, put those in the comments down below. I love to read those and I do answer as many as I can. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please click that thumbs up bell. That really, really helps. And we'll see you next week.